Good morning. My name is Marco Falsetti. I'm the APRA director, and I welcome you here today in my role of coordinator on NCP for Industry Network. We will have time to explain better what is NCP for Industry Network, but in very short, it is the network national contact point from European Commission dedicated to area of industry from Cluster 4. I welcome you to this day, this event today, that is fully dedicated to European Advanced Material Initiative. Uh, what is the European Material, the Advanced Material Initiative will be part of the discussion, so I'm not going to anticipate too much. Will be a lot of reputed speaker part of initiative that will report to you a lot. I'm part of the initiative. I'm a member of the steering board as a chairman of UMAT, and as many of you know, I'm part of the large European community on the material since many years. And I have just a minor comment about the two-day events. First, I have the pleasure to host these events as NCP for Industry Network, because the role of NCP is to support things like that, is to support any activity related to the area of cluster for industry. And certainly, this initiative is quite relevant in the landscape of a cluster for activity. And as a chairman of UMAT, the European Technology Platform on Advanced Material, the pleasure to say that what happened during these last 12 months together from main actors of the European material landscape and the European Commission was a very excellent example of a strong collaboration and efforts in the direction of supporting the material R&I in Europe. This is in very short what is today the European Advanced Material Initiative 2030. And as a member of this community, I had to say that what happened during these last months is an excellent example of what we need to promote R&I in area materials, because all materials community members know very well that the very ambitious target that the Commission has in many different areas, from the main transition to the challenges defined at the level of mission or whatever will be, all these efforts, all this solution that has to be reinvented for the new future of Europe and the European require a lot of materials. Nothing will happen without be ready with the materials that have to be ready at the times when the solution will be finally designed. Behind any great solution, any great new equipment, any great new process of things there is materials, and that is why I believe really relevant the initiative at that stage, because this is exactly the moment where we should focus all our efforts to drive the new materials in the right direction, that as a support to the big challenges that Europe is facing. Now, I'm not going to say nothing about AMI 2030, will be very well discussed. And just I want to share just minor things now. Okay, that is the date, that is the title of the event. And the only my point now is to share with you and to give a very, very short introduction to the day. I will be with you during this day. And as you can see, we will have a first introduction to the initiative from Lars Montelius, our chairman of the initiative. One of the two chairmen, Fabrice Sen, is the other chairman from industry, but unfortunately, Fabrice is not able to be here today. Jürgen Schiedel from a commission that is an important voice, because all this game has no sense without a strong commitment and support from the commission. In a second stage, we are going to go through the 5 different working groups. We have today with us colleagues or chairman from the 5 working groups. In any case, will be fully explained by the other speakers how these working groups are placed in the overall structure of the initiative. We will have final show comment about the engagement, in particular the engagement of not only the scientific and innovation community that is a usual business for us, but how to go beyond the engagement to other kind of elements, including the civil society. And finally, will be a presentation from the staff of NCP industry, so the European NCP system for cluster for industry, to explain what is NCP for industry project, because the project in any case will continue to support any kind of activity, including this activity in the area of cluster for industry. So I'm going to stop here. The day is just the beginning. We have a lot of information to share with you. So if Lars is ready, I would really have the pleasure to pass the role to you, Lars, and in your role of chairman, please open the day.
Thank you so much, Marco. My name is Lars Montelius, as Marco said, and I'm one of the two co-chairs for the Advanced Materials Initiative. I'm happy to be here today and try to explain a bit about the idea behind the manifesto and the Materials 2030 initiative. So can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, we can take the next. Okay, thank you. So I would like to start with what is the main reason for the Advanced Materials 2030 initiative. And as you see in this slide, it builds on the Materials Manifesto. So one would say, what is the real reason for the Materials Manifesto? And the real reason for this is what we are seeing in the world. We are at a tipping point when it comes to sustainability issues. We need to reduce the carbon footprint. We need to do a lot of things. And our industries worldwide, of course, need to become much more green. And then looking on the possibilities to secure a kind of a European autonomy about what will happen in the future, there is a chance, of course, for Europe to go together and work together based on materials, which is the, let's say, the mother of innovation. It goes in all sectors, it goes in all kind of societal perspectives, and it is an inclusive thing. So having this in mind and saying, okay, what can we do? What do we have in Europe? And by looking at what we have in Europe, we have many, many different initiatives, most of them in one sector or in different sectors, if you like. And there is no one really trying to cover all the sectors or what is the common thing behind these different sectors. And thinking about this, a group of us, we came together and then we made this Materials Manifesto. And the vision for the Materials Manifesto is what you see in this slide, a strong European materials ecosystem. I would like to emphasize that every word in this kind of vision is very, very important, right? So materials ecosystem to drive the green and digital transition alongside a sustainable, inclusive European society. So it's about the green and digital transition, it's about European materials ecosystem, and it's a sustainable, inclusive European society through a sustainable collaboration between upstream developers, downstream users, and citizens, and all stakeholders in between. So this is really the, let's go, the social cohesion kind of thing, where all the different stakeholders can come together and work in something that you can call the materials commons, if you like. So the Green Deal targets are, of course, there is the climate, contribution, the circularity of materials, the zero pollution, and the non-harmful, of course. And then the digital transition, and as I said before, the strategic autonomy, safeguarding Europe's technology leadership, and reinforcing European industry competitiveness. And if we do these things together in the right way, there will be plenty of many more jobs in Europe, of course, and we will have a much stronger kind of part of the value chain and part of the supply chain in Europe. So I think this is the chance for Europe to do something together, really, for the three Ps, the planet, people, and prosperity. So next slide, please. So having this, you can say, what are the four main drivers? Well, one drive is, of course, that the idea that there is innovation in all kind of vector or sector, if you like, already. But what we do not have is a strong diffusion between the different sectors. So what is invented or innovated in one sector takes too long time before it diffuses to the other one. So by having something that can support all these industry sectors, some kind of commonalities between these, we can pave the way for a stronger kind of diffusion of knowledge between the different sectors. So this is one main driver. Paving the way for the engagement of all advanced materials stakeholders, it's very important. There are a lot of commonalities, but when we go down deep into our sectors, we become very sector-oriented, and we are losing some potential by not talking with each other so much. So this is one way to do that. Foster the collaboration based on common grounds between stakeholders, the materials commons. I touched upon that already. This is very important. It's really about sharing. It's to be inclusive and helping each other for the benefit of everyone, of course. And then addressing all value chains and innovation markets. So these are the four main drivers. So next slide, please. Can I have the next slide, please? It is there. Thank you. Sorry. Go back. Sorry. Can you go one back? Yes, thank you. So the roadmap that we have developed based on a manifesto that goes into the Materials 2030 initiative and the roadmap for the Materials 2030 initiative, it's really based on this kind of house, if you like, in the top, the inclusive governance, a new form of cooperation. I think it's obvious that in order to aggregate all these different kind of players in Europe, we need a new form of cooperation for the governance of the cooperation. The materials digitalization is there, the materials production and processing, and materials product areas. These are the three main pillars, if you like. And then in the bottom, you see the connecting the blue sky research with market demand. So this is a all TRL kind of inclusive initiative. And then it can give out a lot of evidence-based policy recommendations for different kind of things that we need to do, like standardization, etc., etc. So next slide, please. So the way we did it was to have the commonalities as a basic principles, and then say, okay, what are the main innovation markets in Europe right now? And we identified 9 innovation markets: healthcare, construction, new energies, transport, home, personal care, packaging, agriculture, textiles, electronics, and electronics appliances. Of course, these 9 innovation markets are not the only ones, but these are very important ones. And there is a lot of possibilities in combining the kind of knowledge and have a diffusion between these different sectors. So the way we have addressed this now is to find as much as possible where can we find some kind of collaboration between these innovation markets, and then start as a testing phase, and then having that done, there will be a spill over into the other sectors as well. So next slide, please. So if you see the expected benefits, there are 6 expected benefits in the middle here. Accelerating, this is very important. So we are not a super mega thing that we like to do everything ourselves. We would like to use everything already happening. So it's about connecting the dots, like a connector, if you like. And that by connecting, having an acceleration of the advanced materials development for Europe's innovation markets. The second thing is the low resource utilization, energy efficiency, and decarbonization of materials processing. This is very important. Industry-ready processes and technologies for establishing a circular value chain in Europe. Very important, of course. Alternative advanced materials processing solutions, increased product customization, warranty and labeling, product support, product traceability and lifecycle management. So it's, as you can read from these 6 benefits, very much focused on the green digital transition. So we have the 2 kind of parts, one being the combination of the digital technologies that can go in and help us to make more advanced research and development more quicker, accelerating it, and then also have the integration of the test development for the production and processing that creates new opportunities. So everything is about materials, but it materials that we go into end product, but also materials for processing, for production, etc. So next slide, please. So this is a structure showing the interim governance. So what happened when we presented manifesto in January this year, there was a working group that worked to build out some kind of a roadmap, and this roadmap has been published. And since the summer, we have been working in an interim governance. So we have a steering board, we have a core team, and then we have stakeholders. So the steering board contains all people that were part of building the manifesto as well as the draft roadmap. And then we have a core team, people fully dedicated to work on this, more or less full time of the work, very strong team, putting everything together. And then all the people being engaged now as active stakeholders, working in the different working groups. And we have identified 4 on the strategic agenda content and 1 about the implementation. So the 4 ones on the agenda content is the materials digitalization, materials scaling up, materials policy support, and materials priority areas. So these are the innovation markets, if you like. And then implementation is about instrument selection and implementation. So, I mean, I think it's obvious to understand that there may not be an instrument already that we can use. So we need maybe to combine different kind of instruments in order to put up this advanced materials initiative to actually become an advanced materials project, if you like, or program. So these are the interim governance. It's only for the time until we have the strategic agenda ready. We have roughly now about 800 different people engaged in this work in all over Europe, principally, taking part in very heavy discussions right now because we are closing the strategic agenda within a month time, principally. So if we take the next slide, you see the overview timeline here. So September 22, we had the interim phase. We established this interim governance and we started with stakeholders engagement. November 22, we had done some analysis of available instrument options, active stakeholders consultation, finalized the draft roadmap to become a roadmap, and then defined the strategic agenda outlined. And now, from, let's say, December, January, we will work with the strategic agenda that should be ready by February next year. And then we believe that in the end of 2023, we will have kind of captured all these things and be ready to actually establish a very strong effort in Europe for advanced materials. So can I have the next slide, please? So as you see, this is more or less the same as the previous slide. So we do have the strategic agenda that we should be ready now in the very short, next month or so. If we take the next slide, you can see how we kind of believe the European strategic agenda will kind of work or so. So it has 3 pillars, if you like, or three parts. One is this bluish in the middle, the main segments of the advanced materials circular value chain, advanced materials development and production, advanced materials transformation and integration into components, products and systems, the use phase, and the end of life. So these are the 4 components in a way. And then cross-sectorial to this, there are 4 enablers. And then there are the innovation markets, which is in this arc on top of this slide. So, and I think this is the structure that we have organized this in order to have some kind of structure for the strategic agenda. So if we take the next slide. As I said before, the targeted activities are all the kind of TRLs. So it goes from blue sky research to really high up at the TRL level and for implementation. The activities aiming at the market, the regulatory and societal uptake, This is kind of supporting activities, if you like, which is very important for this inclusiveness that we discussed in the beginning. It's very important to have a fully inclusive system here. So we can take the next slide, and that is the final slide. So I think with this, I tried to bring forward what is the, let's say, the aim of the AMI2030 initiative, and it's really about bringing all actors together. And we know there are hundreds of different activities in the different member states, in different kind of sectors, etc., and they're all needed. So we need something that can connect all these dots. So we enable a very fast acceleration. So I would say the acceleration is the important thing, and the inclusiveness. And then we need some kind of governance for that. And the digital band or the digitalization is important. We need to use all the digital tools available, all the different AI systems, etc., having some kind of interaction between the different databases being built in Europe, so we can extract information, but also share information in a seamless way, and then be able to use that in the innovation space, in the materials and in the production and the processes, in order to make products and, of course, services connected to the products. So I stop with these words and say thank you.
Lars. Thanks a lot, Lars. It was a very, very impressive presentation. I am sure that our audience has already received a broad view of the initiative, including the origins you mentioned, and you start from the manifesto. So that is exactly the message that we would like to share with you, to explain everything from the beginning and what was the rationale that has moved and step forward up to now. So thanks a lot, Lars. If you can stay with us, I have just a minor technical message. Have you seen scroll on the bottom of the presentation, a reference to the Slido and to the one code? So please, I'm speaking to the audience that is connected to us in streaming now. If you want to interact or to ask questions, please go to Slido, connect to Slido, slido.com, and using the codes AMI2030, please access the area of Slido dedicated to these events, and feel free to place your questions. This question will be managed now at this first round, following the presentation of the Commission that is going to happen immediately. And in any case, a question that will be raised and will not be answered online today will get an answer, and it will be our care to answer all the questions with the support clearly of the AMI board members. And this information will be available through the AMI website and to the NCP for Industry website as a follow-up and material from these events. So thanks again, Lars. Now I look to the director to see if Jürgen is with us. I don't still see Jürgen in the studio. Okay, Jürgen, good morning.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me well.
Perfectly. So just 1 second to introduce Jürgen Titel from European Commission, Directorate Research and Innovation. As I told you at the beginning, it's impossible to imagine that whatever will be the effort from our side, the material community, never will happen without a clear, strong commitment and collaboration and support and alignment and continuous alignment with the Commission on these issues. So that's why it's very, very relevant to share with the Commission any idea, any step forward in this direction. And let me say in a different way, this is not an European Commission initiative, but this initiative will never work without the full support from the European Commission. Jürgen, the floor is yours. Please try to stay on the times, and I'm very, very excited to listen to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Marco, and happy to speak all to you wherever you are. I've been invited to give a bit of perspective of the European Commission, and I'd like to indicate this and build a bit on what Marco was saying. What is our role here in this? And there are 3 points I would like to make. So first, we are currently a very active listener to what the stakeholders are saying, what they want to see, what they would like to see happen, because advanced materials is a transversal technologies. Europe is still leading in the world. So we noted with huge interest the Materials 2030 manifesto, which triggered a whole debate where we want to go. We have the second point is we have the Materials 2030 roadmap, which was as a draft published end of June in Grenoble. And now I think the next steps are under preparation. And I think it should be called, what I understand, a draft strategic materials agenda. I hope I got the name right. So this is for us very much a stakeholder initiative triggered by the manifesto. We are listening, but we need also to prepare what the Commission then could do, what is coming out of this huge stakeholder engagement, because this is not about, to put it quite straight, about preparing topics for the next work program 2025. And no, it's a bit first setting the scene where we want to go. And the subsequent step is how do we want to implement this? How we want to implement this later on within Horizon Europe? How do we want to implement this also together with the member states? Next year, we will not only face the so-called strategic plan. It is a strategic plan which the Commission should agree with member states on what should be the priorities for the work programs 2025 until 2027. This will be part of the discussions, and we would like to get materials, advanced materials, into this discussion. It will be a discussion driven mainly by Commission and by the member states. We have various committees. I will not go into detail on this, but it's for the Commission next year to make up its mind where they want to go. What matters for us, therefore, at this stage? What matters for us is that everybody is actually ready for a change. Because the materials manifesto and also the materials roadmap are actually calling for a change. A change how we work, a change how we prepare work programs. And for doing so, from our point of view, we need also to be clear what are the challenges and what are the objectives of such change. What we have heard so far, I would say there's 3 or 4 important points. The first one is we should move beyond the debate advanced materials and nanotechnologies as key enabling technologies. Already for a few years, we deal with nanotechnology and advanced materials as a single transversal technology. More openly, we are not only driven by the term key enabling technologies and as a good, I think, a good guiding principle where funding should go in terms of technology development. We are living in a global competition, and you read a lot in newspapers. Where does the US stand? Where does China stand? Where Europe stands? And on advanced materials, we are still leading. Still. But there's an increasing concern when we need advanced materials for the energy transition, for introducing circularity, for the overall green transition, including mobility. When we need them also for the digital transition, thinking about electronics. When we need them also for health. that if we are not careful, we are no longer on top of the agenda. So this is a strong call on the research community, which is highly interested in advanced materials. We always see the large participation numbers in proposals. We know there is some frustration sometimes that the success rates could be higher. But what matters is that we change our attitude and to move beyond this term key enabling technology, and then somehow we will see whether the market will take it up. We call it open strategic autonomy. Europe wants to be autonomous and using its technologies, but for this we also need to be much more precise where we want to go, where is the so-called market pull. This is the first issue I think we should start looking into. The second one, from our point of view, is there are public expectations towards advanced materials. What can they do? Okay, we can take it from should we have more presentations in the street to explain citizens how big the advantages could be, lightweight materials for cars. What can we do for the energy crisis? But I think the public expectations will also need to be tackled because you have a whole wave of legislation coming up, the Green Deal legislation. Every day you will hear no news that maybe the revised eco-design directive will come. Member states are strongly supportive. So in future, there should be sustainable products, a digital product passport. There should be new waste regulation coming up. There will be a Critical Raw Materials Act where we need to look at monitoring of Critical Raw Materials Act and substitution. So there will be a lot of public expectations where we need the researchers to start thinking, what does this mean for us? Where can we come in? The third point is upscaling. If you have developed and used advanced materials, we need to be clear it can also be manufactured. So there are two issues in this regard. The first one is what does it mean for the manufacturer themselves, for their equipment, obviously. But the second point is the new materials, the advanced materials you offer to the manufacturers, are they fit for purpose? And do we have a sufficiently integrated approach? Currently, we have the feeling these two avenues are not always strongly connected. They should be connected much more. Because at the end, and there's the fourth issue, it's also a matter of time. If you think in terms of open strategic autonomy, if you think in terms of public expectation, if you think in terms of upscaling, there's a matter of timing coming in. And many competitors start thinking about technologies. It's not only that you have a great idea, but by when and what can actually be done. And this brings you actually to the digital world, to the data world. We are conscious that you have member states very active on setting up either national data platforms, look to Germany, or to have federated governance models connecting specific data platforms. What will Europe should do? And we have envisaged a complementary support action in the work program for 2023-2024, where we hope that we can create a strong movement, but we need to look into this maybe more broadly. So these are 4 problems, and I'm pretty sure when it comes along, we will see there will be other issues. What are the market trends when it comes to the relevance of advanced materials? This concept of innovation markets presented in the Materials Manifesto. This is also, I think we have to look at the technology infrastructures for materials, and we are currently looking into this. We have funded more than 25 open innovation test beds. Where do they stand? And maybe we need to combine this. But this is, we are in a very reflective mood. We are currently thinking, and we are, as I said, we are very much listening to what you will discuss today, the feedback you will get. And this brings me to my last point. So first, active listening. Change is needed, but what change? And then what we ever want to discuss, it should be very inclusive. So I'm very grateful, Marco, that you have been organizing this event. I'm grateful that you see Las Montelius, that you will see later on the chairs. And I'm interested to see the feedback you're getting today, because we, our own, will organize something on the 11th of January. And Marco, the NCPs, and you will get the invitation, and we need your help to amplify this invitation. On the 11th of January from 10 to 3 p.m., we will organize a workshop. It's a workshop which member states have asked for. These are the experts from the ministries in particular, to see where this initiative is going. And here we would like to take stock of all the ongoing work, on the reflections, on the challenges, and on the objectives of this initiative. So invitations will go out to the member states, to national stakeholders. Marco, you will receive them as well. Hopefully you can amplify them to the NCPs and those listening today. We will send them to the AMI initiative. And at this event, we will also bring in the ongoing ERANET, the MERANET, because we have also discussion with them to take stock of what they have done to ensure that this is a very inclusive process. This is what I'm happy to offer to you. I don't want now to go too much into substance. I wanted just to repeat, we are a very active listening. We are very much prepared for a change. We see a need for changing. And the reason for this changes is the new logic of open strategic autonomy, the public expectations linked to all the Green Deal packages coming up. And I've forgotten one. This is actually the Safe and Sustainable by Design recommendation we issued on the 8th of December, which will look into the world of chemicals and materials. We have to look at the upscaling dimension. So how can we join forces with the manufacturers? And maybe bring in the question about open innovation testbeds, where we have so many projects ongoing, bringing in an SME angle. And the fourth one is inevitable. How can we accelerate the design of advanced materials via the digital world? And here you will see some countries are very active, but I would say a good dozen is actually not active at all. And this is not good for the European Union. So these are the challenges, and we want to be inclusive. Next year will be very intensive, so please join the workshop we are planning on the 11th of January, and I think we are sending out the necessary programs either this night or on Monday morning. So various people will see it and can amplify this. And 2023 will also be a very important debate where we want to go. Therefore, my encouragement is also there's an ongoing consultation on the strategic plan. The strategic plan the European Commission should develop for the years 2025, 2027. And I count on you that you look into this ongoing consultations. It's an EU survey. And I hope you're going to support action is needed on advanced materials. This is what you can do until the end of February. So you have time to listen today. You can join on the 11th of January and hope to see you soon. And let's stay in touch. I'm happy also to answer any questions if time allows. Back to you, Marco.
Thank you a lot, Jürgen. A lot of elements, but what is relevant is your attempt to clearly justify this initiative not as another one on top of other initiative, but as a general landscape that has to be found agreement. I repeat, material is supporting many other dossiers already open on the Commission table, and that is the approach that we have to do. It's not just new initiative; it's an initiative that has to be has to be placed in the way to be robust for the other running initiative. Well, as far as concerned questions, we have some questions from Slido, but Lars is not anymore in the studio. I would like just, oh no, Lars is coming back now. Okay, so just a couple of questions. So I'm not going to answer. I would like to pass you the share. I would like to concentrate on the first two questions because clearly the other more technical will be times to reply to this question in another area. And take in consideration, I'm speaking about the liquid hydrogen technologies questions that clearly there are other part of another dossier running on the other hydrogens, and on top of that, we are not going to reinvent the wheel. The policies related to hydrogen and fuel cells will be part of many different initiatives today running. But what has to be from our side is to be sure that as far as concerned materials, that you know how much relevant to deal with the technologies related to hydrogens, we can do our part. But now, stay to the first two. Can other research technology organization join AMI2030? That is the inclusiveness and the openness in the future. So please a comment from you, Lars or Jürgen, if you want to very short on that point.
No, this is very inclusive initiative, so anyone that is can join. So just go to the AMI 2030 webpage, ami2030.eu, and then there will be a possibility to link up your organization, your company, whatever it is, so university, etc. Right? And we would really like to have more, let's say, companies there. I mean, we do have a lot of companies, but there is never enough. So please join there. And if there are already things like partnerships in Europe with organizations being joining together, having a common agenda, please join. And then you can contribute to the work groups discussions. There is intense work ongoing, and you will be invited to take part of that and bring your voice there and see what is developing in detail, of course. So please join. It's open to join.
Thanks, Lars. Jürgen, is there any comment about inclusiveness from your side, or we can move to the next one?
I'm not giving advice whether to join now the AMI initiative. This is more for Lars because we are not running this initiative. But I think there are maybe three advices. The manifesto, the Materials 2030 manifesto, is calling for a change. So everybody who wants this initiative needs also to engage into a change.
Yeah.
This is really important. We want to change. Perfect. If it's about how can I join topics, the challenge is out for you because we actually introduce the concept of the Materials Manifesto and the Materials Roadmap in the topics for the work program 2023-2024. And this is not only the complementary support action, these are the RIAs and the innovation actions in the work program, where you see a clear link to the innovation markets. So when you prepare proposals, these are heavyweight references. So what can you actually, with your upcoming proposals, contribute to the market pool? Do you need to new things about working? Should you maybe involve a designer? I don't know. Company participation is actually quite well in the past, but it would also be good to think about to get companies on this to see where do you want to go and to challenge the companies. Where do you see your future markets in 2030? So joining, yes, very important to be inclusive, but you need to be ready also for change. And I wholeheartedly support also, Marco, what you were saying. Yes, we have a materials partnership. Maybe something on photovoltaics is coming up. But we are facing a bit of fragmentation as regards advanced materials technology as such, sharing the common elements from one application area to another one, finding a messing to upscale. So that's a big issue. So this initiative should be really a standalone initiative, ready for changing things. Very important.
Okay, just to try to stick to the time, I would like just to address the last two questions to all of you, but just a short comment. There is a comment on partnerships. There is a comment on topics, and I remind you, but you will get information about that in the future minutes. there is a working group, working groups number 5, as part of the AMI initiative that is totally dedicated to the deployment of the initiative. That means clearly in which way this initiative will take shape. That means how kind of calls, how kind or new partnerships, what kind of tools will be support. This will be under discussion. It's clearly that as far as concerned the topics, the new work program 23-24 is already fixed, is already defined. But in any case, it's quite evident to Hemi that one of the main challenges is to understand in which way will be deployed in the coming years, including any possibility under discussion at present. So clearly, all these points are under discussion. That means that the initiative will probably in the future will have a dedicated calls, or maybe we'll have a dedicated partnerships, but nothing is fixed now, but everything is under discussion. And that's why we need your contribution to define the future of the initiative. Last, would you like to just add a comment about on this point? And after that, I would like to say we stick to this question. In any case, all the question will be answered by written, and the reply will be available as part of the follow-up of the materials from documentation from these events. Last, just a final comment from you about that.
Yeah, I think the only thing to say is that we are open to listen to everyone that have a viewpoint on this matter, right? Because it's, as Jürgen said, it's a matter of change, because there is a need to. We believe there is a need to change the way we have conducted research and innovation governance in Europe. So this is the possibility, and I think all of you may have opinions about that. So please come and join. We are open to listen. And we like to listen. We like to integrate the different stakeholders' perspectives. So again, go to the AMI2030 webpage. There you can also download the roadmap as well as the manifesto and read a bit more about the thoughts behind that. Thank you.
Jürgen, is there any other final words from you about that? Otherwise, we are going to close this first session and we move to the working groups now. Please, Jürgen.
Yeah, I think 2 points. What is on the table? Because you referred to the term partnership. This is on the table. It's clear. We are not in a position now to say, we are going to support a partnership with so much money, but it's on the table. And you have 2 models, which is a so-called co-program partnership. We have more a private side. The other one is a more co-funded partnership. And we need also to reflect, can we not actually think about a combination of the two to have a trilateral cooperation? There we have to see, because what I can definitely exclude that we start thinking about a joint undertaking or something like this. We need to act sooner. We need to be ready 2024, 2025 with very, very concrete actions. That's the first point. The second point, I see lots of questions about BBI, or I've not seen questions about Process for Planet, Made in Europe, CEFIC, and Sustainable by Design. The inclusiveness should allow us to take account also what is coming from this angle. On safe and sustainable by design, I can reassure you, it's the same team who is working on this. We will make sure that there is coherence. Also with the other partnerships, when I think this initiative has formulated its views and is a bit clear, of course there is a discussion then also with the other initiatives, step by step. Yeah. So the inclusiveness will help us also to having a stepwise approach. I hope that the next product of this initiative is coming February, early March, and then we have steps how we take it forward with other initiatives to bring it really together.
Thank you a lot, Jürgen. And again, thank you, Lars. Thank you, Jürgen, for your contribution. As far as concerned, Jürgen, you can rely on Amy on the next meeting on January for sure. And you can rely also on the NCP system to support and to spread any kind of information will be needed for these events in January. Or dare I say June?
11th of January. Yeah, 11th of
yes.
January. 10
yes,
to 3. Okay.
It's already an agenda. Don't worry. At least on my agenda. Thanks a lot. So I would like now to ask the studio to step forward to the next steps. We are going now almost on time to discuss about a short presentation from the 5 working groups that today represent the operative organization of AMI. I would like to start from Gerard. Gerard, sorry, you are in. Are you in? I'm going to wait you to jump on the stage. Yes, Gerard. Yes, I can. I can see you now. Perfect. Thanks, Gerard, to be here. Working group, what we call working group number 1, the working groups on digitalization. But please, Gerard, stay on the times, but the floor is yours. Please go to the presentation of the activity of these working groups. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, very happy to present. Okay, we're sharing the slides here. Yeah, I think we had some overviews of the whole working group process, but maybe even if that's going to come later, I just can share that in the working groups, we have been able. Hope you can hear me. So in the working groups, we have been able to involve a large number of experts from the different organizations, countries, industry, and so on in Europe, and a really wide scale also of types of roles of materials. So this is from the materials design all the way to the application of materials in the customer-facing industries. And the good thing is when we go to now the overview of the, maybe in the next slide as well, that from the draft roadmap to the current roadmap, we have been able to confirm the key messages and also the key themes and priorities here. And this is first of all in terms of objectives that it is time to deliver on a common digital ecosystem for the materials sector. There are many different enabler technologies. So we have talked about key enabling technologies such as modeling, characterization, and so on. They all need to be interoperable and deliver in the digital framework, and can deliver in that framework. We can therefore capitalize on commonalities and integration and synergies via digitalization, and create a federated but highly harmonized and interoperable materials data infrastructure. So these are really already the key messages, and they come together from even the different national initiatives on a common view, right? So that's a good thing. And of course, the outcome is to manage and control the materials use and behavior along the entire lifetime and life cycle, right? So this is data that go with the material from the design throughout the life and then reuse, right? So that's really very important. That enables then better decisions from the design stage all the way regarding the criteria that keep on increasing, right? So we have, of course, efficiency, reliability, safety, sustainability, and more things need to be added and are being added in terms of requirements for the material. This again brings many data and the importance of that into focus. And that, of course, is not done as a means in itself, but really for a better utilization of the value that is inherent in the material. And for example, that can affect the lifetime of existing products. It can improve circular materials flow, minimize the environmental impact, and of course, improve citizen health and health of the planet. Next slide. So this is the view, the 4 points of that we can all agree on. We always need new information and always need to generate information throughout the life cycle. So this goes from the points here on synthesis and processing, characterization, modeling, but also includes the whole life assessments, risk assessments, life cycle, and so on. Then we are really tasked, and this is a point that's becoming more and more important also across industries, from materials to manufacturing and customer-facing industries, is that if we don't do a good job at documenting the data, then nobody else can use it. So the value of data lies in the second point as well, making sure that we have have harmonization in terms of terminologies, metadata, ontologies, and so on, that it makes data really more usable, more value created, and interoperable across domain. They have to live somewhere, the data, and so there are many databases around in the third column. But we have to facilitate in a federated space of data which has trusted access, which facilitate exchange, which we facilitate also management of IP and etc. So these are many. This is an area, of course, where there is also now a confluence of approaches of doing that, and by doing it in an analogous way in the materials area to other spaces, then we can again enhance the value. Now we are ready, we can access the data, we can exchange the data, we know what the data are, and we can always generate new data for exploitation of that, better exploitation through enhancing the value with, for example, AI strategies. There is in the end no AI without having actually good data, right? So that is the big picture here. And then on the next slide, we then see a little bit more on the points. If you move forward to this. The next slide. Yeah, we therefore have these 4 areas again in an iterative cycle that goes through the whole life, right? So we're not talking now just about data generation in terms of materials design and documentation. We are going through this cycle throughout the life of materials and connecting. So there's therefore we have generate new data with harmonized and digitalized technologies such as modeling, characterization, production, and testing technologies. We document the data for fairness in support of material standards by disseminating a common language for data exchange and knowledge management. We have a common materials data space with trusted management, data access and exchange, and distributed data repositories to provide reliable, easy access to an exchange of generated data for all stakeholders. And then that enables the use and exploitation by semantic and AI technologies to provide powerful tools for interrogation and processing of data. And of course, the roadmap goes into more detailed priority actions and examples of potential actions in each of these areas. Thank you.
Okay, can you? Okay, thank you, Gerard, because this was not easy to give in very short times a presentation of a complex working groups like that, but that is the same problem also for the other. Thanks a lot. I'm going to say that if a question will be raised to the working groups number 5 or any other, working groups number 1 or any other working groups, in any case, as usual, please put your question on Slido and the questions will be answered. If not online due to the time constraint today, you will find the answer to your question in the coming days in the AMI2030 website or to the NCP for Industry website. So again, I would like to step now. I hope that Marta is already available. So yes, Marta is coming. Thanks a lot. Now, if you remember the words from Jürgen, the word scaling up has been repeated many times. So in a real challenge for materials is not just to stop to the lab, but to move to the production grid scale, large scale. So Marta, you are from our, let's say, manufacturing part of HEM initiative. So please, we need you to bring to the market and to bring to the scaling up materials. To you, the presentation of the working groups number 2.
Thank you, Marco. Indeed, the materials production and scale up is very important. It has been mentioned here many times before in the previous presentations, and that this working group 2 is all about materials production and processing technologies, processing the technologies to produce and process advanced materials. And it's not only important because of the reason that was already mentioned here today, but also because involved stakeholders need to make substantial investments also to process and scale up materials and develop the novel processing technologies. And that is why identifying and harvesting synergies from cross-cutting challenges is one of the important benefits of good governance within the Materials 2030 initiative, not only to facilitate cross-fertilization of developments made for several applications, but also to, as was already said, about trying to align the full landscape of initiatives that already exist. That is why the main objectives of Working Group 2 were to promote the efficient collaboration between the different stakeholders, projects, and initiatives, facilitate the cross-fertilization, and improve material scale-up sustainability, not only by the materials design, but also in the equipments and the processes that are needed to ensure this process sustainability. That is why, as a key milestone towards a unified and sustainable European Materials Initiative, it is important to identify common manufacturing technologies and conditions for the processing and scale-up of new materials, components, and products, notably process optimization, decarbonization, mass customization, zero defect production, circular economy, multi-materials processing, and new materials processing along the whole value chain of materials. And these were challenges that were validated during the discussions of Working Group 2. For instance, some challenges associated to these needs are, for example, the development of digital tech twins of production processes, collection of data related to materials, products, and production processes, and of course, also sourcing, use, and incorporation of recycled materials in products. We have also, from the contributions from all the stakeholders that are part of Working Group 2, we have built a table with different challenges that are relevant and common to the different 9 innovation markets. And so, to sum up, the priorities that were identified are very much related to the strategic collaboration that is needed. Although it is ongoing between some of the initiatives, the link between materials, digital and production technologies, and sustainability assessment should be reinforced, and try to achieve, through this collaboration, a common framework for scattered and heterogeneous initiatives focused on different cross-cutting areas, avoiding the overlapping activities related to materials. And that is why the strengthening of the strategic collaboration is one of the priorities that will accelerate the production and the scale-up of materials. And also, to accelerate this introduction to the market of new materials, it is needed to increase the TRLs and reduce the time to market of the complete solution. So it is necessary to ensure the effective transfer of modern technologies, digital and production technologies, from laboratories to industry, and involve all the stakeholders along the value chain. For example, production parameters can be taken into account already during the early stages of the material development, and digital technologies shall serve and support both material development and material processing and scale-up. So the two should be very much related and developed, aligned between. A typical issue during scaling up is cost, and having access to platforms to perform upscaling with controlled costs and risks is very important, and I think that was already mentioned today. This can be done through pilot lines, open innovation test beds, or technological infrastructures for the scale-up stage to help SMEs and companies to upscale their solutions. Finally, the third priority is about the eco-development of materials, because life cycle engineering with material informatics, for example, tracking and tracing systems to identify sourcing, how it was produced, and how the material component product properties processed change during its operation until its end life. It's very important, not only the sustainable by design, but design for recycling, sustainability, disassembly, and improving the remaining useful life. That is one of the priorities for materials scale-up. Also, the exchange of information and knowledge on materials, digital and production technologies between all the stakeholders needs to be ensured. And that is why it is necessary to develop adequate and efficient communication channels, including formats, protocols, information communication systems, etc. And that is why the fourth priority is about to develop channels to support the data exchange and sharing between materials development, digital and production technologies. And finally, the fifth priority is to promote the collaboration between materials developers and existing funding landscape for production and digital technologies to try to avoid overlapping and to align the different initiatives in order to develop materials, processing and manufacturing industry to adjust material properties and pave the way to commercialization. We have many experts in this working group, but of course this is inclusive, and we would like to have more joined, and we will try to have your views and your expertise reflected in these discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marta, again for staying on the times. And just a minor comment, as you can see, despite we are going to be organized on the 5 different working groups with a dedicated issues, clearly, sometimes there is a little overlapping between discussion. That is natural because the exercise is complex by nature, let's say. So that is under control in a certain way, because in any case, the working groups, despite they are going to work in a silo system, but after that, the exchange between the 5 working groups exists as part of the governance of the system. So we are going to clearly to fine-tuning what will be discussed and decided in a single working groups together with the other working groups. Thanks a lot, Marta, again. Now it's time to move to Christian. Sorry. Christian, are you him? I'm waiting for Christian, and Christian is reporting about the policy support to the activity. I don't see Christian on the stage. Is there any? It is Justin? Okay. Sorry. Justin.
No worries.
I have my non-updated list of speakers. Good morning, Justin. And I pass the floor to you. This is the groups dealing with the policy issues, because as you can see, again, I repeat, the material initiative cross-cut many different other commission dossiers that have to be considered. Justin, the floor is yours, and take your time.
Thank you very much, Marco. And Also, thanks for the slides. My name is Justin van Schepen. As you can see, I am from Suffolk, and we are supported by Christian. Indeed, that's why his name was there. And we have a co-chair who is Fleming Cassé from RIVM, the Dutch Institute. So in our working group, we bring together, of course, as the other working groups, the experts from the different organizations that are interested in this initiative, that are part of this initiative, and within our discussions, we identified that there are four key parts that we're focusing on. So very important for advanced materials is the safe, sustainable by design. Mr. Tiche from the European Commission has already mentioned this as a key way forward, as a guidance for innovation and the development of materials. Of course, with that and with the further development of materials, there are norms and standards to follow, and they can also improve Europe's competitiveness. And then there are two more points which focus on health and health, safety, and environment to ensure that the advanced materials contribute to that. And then very important, I find it, is that there is sufficient education and training across the entire value chains, not only to improve the work that is ongoing, but also to train the next generation and ensure that on a longer term, Europe remains competitive, remains innovative in this area. So if you look at those, what they address are quite a broad set of phases, basically. So these policies go into the development and production, but also the transformation and integration, up to use phase and end-of-life management. Because on the last point, the European Commission and the European Union is considering quite some measures and policies as regards recycling, reuse, and make sure that the end of life of products is managed properly, and that they're fed back into the materials loop. So the work ahead for this working group towards the strategic materials agenda is what we intend to do to have a mapping of existing policies and regulation on the European level, mainly, and then also integrating new policy aspects for the value circles, which include digitalization and circular economy. So it is important with this mapping also to identify roadblocks, but also identify things that work very well, and learn from those and propose further recommendations. That is it from my side. Back to you, Marco. We cannot hear you.
Sure, sorry. Thanks a lot, Justin. And sorry, the times to enter in the stage. Otherwise, I'm speaking in the back, and now nobody can listen to me. Again, just a minor comment from my side. It's maybe strange for some member of the community to be part of, to contribute to these working groups, because it's usually less technical than other working groups. But please, this is exactly what we need also, because there will not be any kind of a future for AMI without a robust policy framework around AMI itself. So that's why the invitation is also to contribute to discussion like the one that has been addressed by Justin during his presentation. Thanks a lot, Justin. And now I would like to move to the next one, working groups number 4, the more technical, probably, or one among the most technical working groups of the groups. Maya, you are certainly with us. I saw you before. So, Maya, the floor is yours, and give you an explanation on the document itself, because most of the activity of working groups number 4 is directly related to the SRIA structure and content preparation. Maya, please.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to present today. First of all, I will mention the working groups. I think that you should see the presentation. Then, as you have been seeing now, you have already seen the materials digitalization, the materials production and processing that intends to scale up materials, the materials policy support, and now I will present you the materials priority areas. First of all, I would like to highlight that we make, and many of you participated in the roadmap survey. We generated a roadmap that was published, the draft on June 2022, and we launched a survey in order to match what the community opinion about the priorities that has already been identified and described in the draft of the roadmap, including 74 contributors. And then we go working group by working group, highlighting what are the priorities, if we are having any gap, or if we should analyze anything more. And this was the roadmap survey in which the inputs were collected. It closed at 25 November, and we have 129 contributors, and then with representatives from industry, from different stakeholders platform, from different actors in the value chain, and also research and institutes and universities answer the questionnaire. And concerning the different materials innovation market, we highlight that the highest participation was related with new energies, after for transport, after medical and health, after packaging, and also electronic appliance, and after let's say the agriculture and textiles and home care initiative. Then we designed some areas of intervention that was related with the different roadmap needs, including the main segments of the advanced material circular value chain related with development, production, transformation and integration to components, consumption, use, and end of life. Also, cross-sectional enabling technologies, as you have seen, digital technology, production, but also highlighting circularity and going to a standard regulatory and framework. And with that, we are interlinking these, let's say, cross-road segments with the circular value chains, and also with the needs of innovation market, also to define some commonalities between different innovation markets in order to highlight what are the priorities. And we plan to, let's say, to elaborate in the next step the strategic agenda for advanced materials, in which will be an introduction. This is still to be done, having the vision, and expected impact, dealing with this exercise of inclusive research and innovation activities, and also to define the complementarity with other activities and synergies from member states, try to align how this initiative will be financed and how the different cooperation will be established with in terms of financing programs, national, regional initiative, partnership, ambitions, international cooperation strategy, regulation, code standard education, or also targeting small medium companies, and also dissemination and exploitation. The working group of 5 that will be explained before is related with the recommended instrument that has been some question before, and also the governance, taking into account the stakeholders level of commitment, and also to assure openness. Then, in order to explain with a little bit more detail the materials innovation market, it has been highlighted that the selected materials innovation markets with healthcare, construction, new energies, transport, home and personal care, packaging, agriculture, textile, and also electronics. It has been selected 3 or 4 priorities for each innovation markets. What we have highlighted is that after this consultation that I have presented to you, there was confirmation of the interest of different materials innovation markets, and also priorities that were already collected within the roadmap. But we try to collect the inputs if there was also necessary to complement anything else in the description, and we, let's say, be inclusive of including the most important aspect that were not in the first definition, but is now in the roadmap that has been the final roadmap that has been published in December. Downloads in the same place. And also, additionally to the its materials innovation market priorities that I have highlighted before, we have tried to, let's say, to find out which could be the common interest between the different innovation markets, and it has been highlighted some of these priorities that could benefit to different innovation markets, and also relate with the development phase, if it's the transformation of materials, the integration, the use of and online, where this initiative or these priorities can be located in the roadmap, in the value chain. And also, concerning each one of these common functionalities, it has been related with application of the materials innovation market for different innovation market. Introducing example. Then one very important difference between the version of June and the version of December is that these communalities has been populated with much more examples coming from the stakeholders. These are application for different value chain. And then the survey feedback has been integrated in the final roadmap, and also, for example, when dealing with before has been highlighted that sometimes we get feedback for working group 4 related with materials innovation market, but there are some needs that after go to the other working group, for example, the need of standardization to put in the market the different products, and also the risk assessment and need that is more related with working group 3, but we also highlighting working group 4. And then the most important thing is that the priorities that were already selected were also on the opinion of the different stakeholders that are important. And then this is the version of the roadmap that you can download in the AMI2030 website. And this is the version of December. We passed for 74 contributors, half of them from the industry, to 260 contributors to the roadmap. And I think that this is a success, but this will not finish here because now, as we explained to you, the objective is to follow working in the strategic agenda in parallel with the implementation that will be described on working group 5. And with that, I finish my presentation. Any other question you can follow in Slido, and we try to answer all your questions.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you a lot, because it was not so easy to report on the activity of these working groups. This is a core working groups, clearly, where a lot of contribution and a lot of problem is to has to be managed, because clearly many inputs, many contribution, in any case, should not be translated just in a list of desiderata, but has to be put together in a sounding document with strong strategic elements, and not just a single list. So it's a complex exercise. Just one point, please. This is the working group where I can suppose that most of you are interested to give a contribution. And I repeat, the contribution has to be done to all the working groups, because we need to work in parallel with all the different efforts. But certainly this is the more technical area where most of you will be interested to give a contribution. So again, please jump in the games, and the door is still open, and your contribution, your future contribution is also welcome. Take in consideration that in any case the times of the exercise are quite tight, and in any case by February the new strategic research agenda, at least in the first draft, has to be completed. Thanks a lot, Maya. And now I would like to jump to the fifth and last working groups. So we have Elizabeth with us. This is a very important working groups from a political point of view. Most of the questions that have been addressed in Slido deal with the problem of what will be the concrete deployment of AMI in terms of support to the communities. And that is exactly what is under the discussion of these working groups. So in which way the AMI will take shape in the future in terms of tools, in terms of instruments within the framework of Commission system, Horizon Europe system. So Elizabeth, please, the floor is yours. Take your times, but don't too much, because we have a little to recover some kind of minutes. Elizabeth, please.
I imagine. Yes, thanks, Marco. So yeah, my name is Elizabeth. I'm part of the EY team that is supporting the Advanced Material Initiative 2030. And as part of that, we are also chairing the working group on the instrument selection. And as Marco already said, I hope I can answer a few of your questions on the kind of governance setup of this initiative. So as you can see, the objectives of our working group are to actually have a look at the existing instruments within Horizon Europe, but also outside, and maybe also even design an appropriate instrument, so that the planned activities and objectives of the strategic agenda of the AMI2030 can be implemented. And here we are doing an analysis of, as I said, established instruments already, and have a look at the benefits or maybe also shortcomings that we see, and then present this proposal to, of course, first the initiative, but also in February or March to the European Commission. Here, of course, we already have an ongoing collaboration and exchange with the Commission or the DG Research and Innovation on this. And then have a look at how this can then really, or to develop an implementation scheme for the activities throughout the next year. So here, as I said, we have already started the assessment. I'm going to talk about this in a second, our evaluation metrics. Based on this assessment and the input also of the core team and the steering board, we would like to have a kind of benchmarking and definition of the instrument we envision would be best to implement the activities. This is planned from January, February onwards. And based also on the feedback or the official feedback in spring, we would like to develop an implementation scheme. So the kind of setup of the governance and the different programs, the calls for proposals that have been asked about already in the questions, and so on. So what we have been the work we have been performing in the last weeks has been to develop a matrix to assess potential instruments that we see. You can see here on the right side and selection of the instruments we are looking at. So the different types of partnerships within Horizon Europe, but also other schemes. And we came up with evaluation criteria, which we consider important to assess whether this can actually be an appropriate instrument. So, of course, in terms of governance, to see what will be the legal setup and also what kind of preparation has to be done to set up the instrument. We would like to look at financing. So, of course, first, what are the conditions to finance the instrument, the initiative? Where's the kind of funding coming from? But also then in terms of the projects that are going to be implemented within the AMI2030. What kind of funding can they look for or expect? In terms of operation, how fast can the instrument be set up? What is here the process with the European Commission, maybe also the member states and other stakeholders? And of course, what terms of or what types of reporting can be expected to the different stakeholders? And then looking at the innovation, which different TRLs are targeted within one instrument, and so on. So first, we are looking at the different instruments with these criteria. And in the second step, we are asking for the input of the Working Group 124 and the activities that are planned or envisioned for the AMI2030, and also different deliverables that should be given. So we will have a look again at the instruments based on that input to see our initial assessment. Maybe this has to change or be a bit adapted. And then we envision a kind of ranking of the different instruments based on the kind of wish list that we have or the kind of dream instrument, how close potential instruments can come to this list. So this is the current work we are performing within the working group. Maybe to give you a bit of an outlook. So we have been developing this roadmap, this evaluation matrix. We have talked to the working group. Currently, we are still incorporating feedback from our first draft that we have. And we will, of course, also share this with the steering board and the core team of the initiative. And as of January, we will be looking at the input from the other working groups on the planned activities and deliverables. And as I said before, kind of redo the assessment again based on this new input. And then for February, March, suggest what instrument or maybe also instruments can be most beneficial from our point of view. And with this, I conclude my presentation. And I'm, of course, also very happy to answer any still remaining questions in terms of instrument selection governance.
Thanks a lot, Elizabeth. Yes, many questions will rise. And as you can see, the scenario is still under evolution. There are a lot of potentiality, a lot of possibilities, nothing fixed now, but we are going to create order in this chaotic system with idea to find the best way, clearly. And maybe even the answer will not be just one single approach, but a multiple approach. But this is under discussion. Again, I have to say, Elizabeth, the question according to the time will be managed in backlog. So we are going to answer all the questions, including the ones that are related to this implementation phase of the future steps for AMI 2030. So thanks a lot, Elizabeth. And with that, we conclude this presentation from the 5 working groups leader or co-leaders, in any case, person who are very active and have management responsibility within the system of the 5 working groups. Now, just a minor comment to the slide. There are a lot of questions. This is a very good point, because that means there are a lot of interest from you, and the community is alive and want to know better about the initiative. So as I told you, I commit myself to answer with the colleagues, with the working groups leader, with the chairman and co-chairman of the initiative to your question. The question will be answered in written and will be available through the different website, AMI website, and ANSP for Industry website, and also from the APRI website, maybe. In any case, we will be informed when these questions will be answered, so you can go there. In any case, the answer will be used as a frequently asked questions, so we remain in any case as part of the exercise. Now, we have to jump to the next steps. We are going to conclude. We have a presentation. Winfried, are you in? Yes, you should be in. So, good morning, Winfried. Again, we would like to close these days. Is not the final. There is another presentation after that. But as far as concerned the initiative itself, we would like to stress the point about engagement. Not only, again, the engagement of the communities and material and R&I communities, but also some things beyond this dimension. And this is to you, Winfried, to give an idea about the openness of the initiative to the community and to the world in general. Please, Winfried. Thanks.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to give you some facts about engagement today and tomorrow, and about how to join, a few practical informations as well. My name is Winfried Kuiper. I'm a co-secretary of UMAT, and I'm very pleased now to share a few slides with you. We are running slightly behind time, so I go a little bit faster. The status today of engagement and of enrollment of people registered with the AMI initiative is actually more than 400. I've been told we are standing at even above 410 now. And it seems that we have new members daily. Here is a graph explaining the distribution of the registered people, the 400 roughly. On the left-hand side, the pie chart explains the distribution by country. We see that we have a multitude of European countries and contributors from them. A bit surprising, maybe the percentages of the different countries, not going into details here, do not necessarily follow population or size of the country, but what's important is the inclusive approach with many contributions across the whole of Europe. Now, on the right-hand side, the graph shows the distribution by organization, and here we see a clear blue dominance of academia, meaning the universities and the RTOs, whereas the industrial contributions in yellow and orange here amount to only 20% of the registrations. And this is a little bit low, we feel, because of the importance of industrial end users of advanced materials. We feel they should be presented a little stronger. This slide summarizes once more the invitation for experts to get engaged in AMI. Please share your experience, your knowledge, your know-how, and everything you can offer in the AMI initiative. We would like to see large companies and startups and SMEs in particular, advanced materials producers and integrators, not to forget circular economy experts and SSBD organizers. Safe and sustainable by design is certainly an important buzzword. So please get engaged. We are waiting for you. But there is also another aspect of engagement that I would want very briefly depict on my next slide. And this is actually the question of the AMI initiative broadening to the views and the aspects of the downstream users of advanced materials, the consumers, and in general, the societal stakeholders. We would like to pull these groups in, and we widen the AMI2030 community to non-scientific stakeholders, to directly address the citizens' participation associations, and we will organize a meeting targeting the non-technical stakeholders. But now back to the actual practical way of how to join the initiative. Who can join? I think it's clear any European organization engaged in advanced materials development, use, recycling, everything, the whole value chain. And the actual fact, joining the online form is easy by using the link distributed in several documents already. Join us, Materials 2030 Initiative. In fact, when you do that, you will be asked about your personal data and your background. That's clear. And we'll also ask about the organization you are affiliated with. And then in the next steps, you will be asked to indicate which one of the 5 working groups would be most interesting for you, where you would like to get involved. Now, this is the moment where I would like to answer 2 frequently asked questions. Even from experience, this is 2 points that come up many times in the discussions. And the first one is, isn't it too late already for me to join the initiative? All is set, all is running, all is up and almost finished. And here I can say a clear no, it is not too late, not at all. You are invited to join and participate in the drafting of the strategic research and innovation agenda, which is going to be created over the next few weeks and months. and where your input is really, really wanted and needed. The other more practical question that was frequently asked is, can more than one person per organization register? And here a clear yes. We already have quite a number of multiple registrations, meaning more than one person, for example, from the large bodies like universities or large companies. Yes, we do have that already. This is not a hindrance. We invite your know-how and skills to join, to be integrated into our initiative. So all I can say now is hope to see you at AMI 2030 very soon. And this is the end of my presentation.
Thank you, Winfried. Messages were quite clear. AMI is open, even in this phase. It's clear that the timeline is moving. So if you join too late, probably most of the activity will be already fixed, but that's time. We cannot just wait for months or for years. But the train is moving. But please jump in the train, because the train is open to receive contribution during, in any case, a journey already started. Thanks a lot, Winfried. I would like now, almost on time, to move to the next and final presentation. This is not a real presentation from AMI, but it's part from AMI. It's just to present you about NCP for Industry, that as an NCP networks for Cluster for Industry is part of these games, will be part of these games in terms of supporting to the community about information, about support, about everything. So please, I don't know who is on the stage now from the upper staff, Serena or Diego. Is Diego? I saw you here. So Diego,
hello, Marco.
Try to stay on the times and close on times. I give you the floor to a very short.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. So, hello everyone, this is Diego from NCP for Industry. I'll explain during this short presentation who we are, but just to give like an initial hint, we are the European project of the Cluster for Industry National Contact Points. It was quite a natural thing for us to organize this event due to the importance of topics on the advanced material in the Cluster for Work program. So in the next slides, I'll give a quick overview on who we are, what we do, and how you can reach us and be aware of what we organize, like events, trainings, and other kind of activities related to the work program and the cluster for more specifically. So first of all, I'd like to give a quick general definition of national contact point for who is not aware of our role. In particular, give an answer to the question who we are, the initial answer. So NCP's national contact points are support structures that have become an essential component of the implementation of the framework program. And essentially, we support applicants who want to participate to the Horizon Europe calls for proposals. This is, let's say, our main activity, but not the only one. All the NCPs are nominated at a national level, and we work in close collaboration with the European Commission, but also national partners and clients who want to participate to Horizon Europe in general. So let's go to understand what we do, what the national contact point, what a national contact point does. Shortly, we provide information and advices to potential applicants and organizations that are already working in Horizon Europe projects. So not only, let's say, newcomers, but even like who is working in ongoing projects. We offer them a range of services that will be shown in the next slides, more specifically, and we do it in a more personalized way than the Commission could do, because let's say we are at a national level, so we know the applicants, we know our clients. In general, we give information. We want to give information to the clients and raise their awareness on the framework program. We assist them, we advise them, and when necessary, we train them. Like as a European project, we train even the other NCPs of the Cluster 4. And we encourage the cooperation between applicants and organization. So how you can find us? Let's say it's quite easy. You just go to the funding and tender portal, and you can find here your national contact point, just typing some information. We are a total of 134 national contact points for the member states and 43 for the associated countries, and same number for the third countries. Altogether, we are a real multinational network able to support in a comprehensive way the proposers and beneficiaries, putting together different competencies and knowledge. This is the best way, like working together at a multinational level, we can do more things than alone. We can give support during the whole project life cycle, from the beginning, from the proposal writing to the project execution, giving advice to the applicant, studying, for instance, at a first instance, their profile, advising on the project idea, or helping them thanks to the NCP networks. For instance, if they are building a consortium, we can, let's say, contact our network, our NCP network, to help them in some way. We can use dedicated tools that we have developed during the project or during our activities, and indeed often they come from the work of dedicated European project, and these tools help us to give the best support to clients. I want to give an overview on how it is organized, the Cluster 4 in terms of national contact points. Due to the complexity of the complexity of this cluster, divided essentially in 3 big areas, the European Commission funded 3 network projects on the 3 thematic areas, and these 3 networks that are for the digital part, Idealist, for the industrial part, NCP for Industry, us, and for the space, Cosmos. We promote events, services, such as support during the project lifecycle, as I said, and dedicated trading for national contact points. But we have also specific tools for each of the thematic areas. So the aim of this free project is the circulation of knowledge, good practices, and available opportunities among the Cluster 4 research and innovation communities. Who we are, who is NCP for Industry? So NCP for Industry is the project, the NCP for Industry project is the network of the national contact points funded by the European Commission for the Cluster 4, and is the main structure to provide guidance, practical information, and assistance on all aspects of participation in Horizon Europe Cluster 4 industry. The network in total includes 17 NCP organizations established in the European member state Horizon Europe associated. So this project has 17 beneficiaries. We started last June, and the duration of the project is 36 months. So we are becoming more and more active in this period. We overcome the first difficulties, and now we start organizing training events like this. So our main objectives, for sure, the first is to establish a consistent level of national contact point support services across Europe in the field of research and innovation. And more interesting maybe for this public is to promote the Horizon Europe Cluster 4 industry funding opportunities among multiple research and innovation communities, and stimulating and also to stimulate the knowledge transfer and cross-fertilization among stakeholder groups and different organizations. So who are our target groups? At a first sight, for sure, the cluster 4 NCPs. Not all the NCPs are part of the project, but can beneficiate of our services. But to reach our objectives, we need to support, collaborate, and find synergies with other kind of organization as well, and stakeholders, such as other relevant initiatives like AMI2030, relevant R&I communities for cluster 4, but also reaching and supporting new organizations that want to apply to the Horizon Europe goals in cluster 4. So this is an overview of the kind of organization we daily support that you can find in this panel, like SMEs, large enterprises, academia, research organization, no-profit organization. So really, we are in contact and we try to support in the best way all of them. Okay, this is really, I'm not entering into details, but this is let's say an overview of our services. You can find easily this picture in our website. We go from the proposal, let's say the proposal check. So we support the applicants to improve their proposal before the application, and we give also legal and finance advices. So you can find, let's say, I try to shorten my presentation, so I'm not going into details. Here, this is our address, our website. We are, let's say, online from, I think, the last days of November. So now it starts to be, let's say, quite full of contents. What we have done until now, especially in this month, we were quite active. There was a brokerage event on the next cluster 4 calls for proposal on the 14th of December. We organized this together with AMI2030 this initiative. Today, we are going to open a proposal check on our website so that you can upload the draft of your proposal and ask us to let's say, to have some advice, a review of your draft. And we are by now organizing the next training for next spring. So if you just connect to our website, you will be updated on our next activities. I would just want to thank your attention and leave the floor to Marco. Thank you, Marco.
So, Diego, thanks a lot for this insight about NCP for industry. Clearly, as I repeat, the NCP system is going to support any activity related to cluster 4 industry, so including this initiative of AMI2030. But now we are going to close, because we are approaching. No, we are already approached the hands. From my side, just a couple of comments, very short. First of all, is a technical content. I confirm for the Italian community that in the afternoon at 2 o'clock we will have a national session dedicated to AMI2030. So again, a further opportunity at the national level to discuss about this initiative. And on top of that, I had to thank all the participants. You clearly. I repeat, the question that you have addressed to us will be answered. Information to these questions will be passed to you. The message is clear. AMI2030 is a relevant initiative for any person at any kind of level interested in the area of a material R&I. So please, this initiative is an initiative that has not been fought within any groups of personnel in a meetings, meeting rooms in Brussels. This is an initiative that starts from the community of stakeholders and material R&I activity at European level. So include everybody, including you. So please feel free to bring your contribution to the initiative. There is times, there is room, there is a need of your contribution to the initiative. So thanks again to you. Thanks clearly to all my colleagues from AMI2030, because this presentation has been done using their expertise and their qualified experience and information about the initiative itself. Thanks to the Commission, thanks to the APRA staff and to the staff of NCP for Industry, our NCP colleagues, for the supporting, in any case, the exploitation of this initiative. So from my side, I want to close here. I finally repeat, the initiative is there. You are part of the initiative. If you are not yet part of the initiative, but you are interested, please jump in now. That is the right times. Thanks a lot for the contribution. Thanks a lot for any further question or that you should address. We are here to answer you. You know, or you have information about the AMI website. You have information about the NCP for Industry website, where in any case information will be repeated. Enjoy your day, and thanks a lot, and we will stay in contact for future action. Bye.